See my login. This is my Semrush board. And again, let me give you some background on Semrush and we'll practice using it today. So you could follow along if you open up your Semrush account, or you could just go ahead and I'm recording this. You can go back and take a look at the recording as well. Okay. So remember, Semrush is a tool that we use to help us gather data and research to make us better at content development, to make us better at keyword development, to make us better at traffic analysis, to make us better with understanding the competitive landscape, and even social media. It has some social media tools there. Now, the free tool that I'm showing you doesn't have those metric tools built in, but if you do get the subscription, you can look at that. I don't use Semrush for social media. I use it more for analytics and gap analysis, keyword gap analysis, and we'll cover some of that here in this demonstration. So when you look at the keyboard, just take a look at the different buckets that you have here. On the left-hand side are really the marketing buckets that are key to online marketing. SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. You have local marketing, which stands for, basically all the localized, mostly Google My Business and geo-targeted type local marketing that you would use online. That would be great for geo-targeting specific locations, let's say. And then there's advertising. Of course, that's tied into the Google advertising. There's social media, which is tied into your social media channel. Content marketing is going to give you a great view on content marketing database and things of that nature. And then trends are going to show you different trends that are happening in the industry. So those are the major buckets. We're going to go into a couple of these buckets now as we walk through an exercise, just so we can understand how to use the tool a little bit. And then there's also up on top, there's a whole section here of resources. So if you go into resources, you can see you have a whole section of different resources that you can use, from the blogs to webinars to insights and data to the actual academy. Clicking on that will get you to the academy, which you could take extra lessons and different types of certifications. So we'll open that and we'll look at that exactly here in a bit as well. And then there's a whole bunch of different extra tools here. And this is used for the free enhancements on the website, let's say. And I'll show you some tools that you can use not only through the Chrome browser, but also through Semrush and some free tools as well. And then lastly, you have this section here, which is your user ID and or your personal data. Okay, so that's sort of the layout of the land of Semrush. Now, in order to start using this, we have to really understand why we want to use it and what we want to do to with the data that we're getting from it. So every tool is wonderful, right? And tools that we have are valuable to us in a lot of different ways. And I refer to any tool, a hammer, a jack for a car, digital marketing tools. You need these tools to do the job, but the right tool for the right job is important. Just because you have a tool doesn't mean that it's fit for that particular application. So you have to make sure that the tools that you use tie into what your needs are. So if Semrush is a tool to help us improve our SEO, which is our search engine optimization, then we should use that tool. It's not the only one out there, but it's one of many. There is a cost to the subscription, but the tool can also help us with content marketing and domain analysis. So that's what I use Semrush for, and I find it to be very helpful. So that's how we're going to use it tonight in this demonstration was sort of going to see how to use the tool and understand it. Okay, so where do we start? If you remember, we wanted to start with looking something up. So where does the journey start? If you remember, we have to, as a marketer, we are trying to fill a need or solve a problem. That's the goal of our marketer. So when we go online, normally we start that search online, we punch in something into the search bar. And that search bar is tied to content and keywords that help drive up that results. So what I want to do is I want to take a cruise. That's my goal. I want to take a summertime cruise. So I don't know where to start, and I want to start understanding where to find those things. So what do I search in? I'm going to search in summer cruises, and I am going to put in, I was going to put in from Miami, but it's interesting how I started doing this already. And you notice I just typed in summer cruises, and Google is now already filling out longer keyword phrases that have been coming up or are targeted based on my IP address, my geo target. So notice it's coming up with suggestions underneath my summer cruises. Immediately, Google is saying, do you want summer cruises 2024? Do you want summer cruises from Miami? I was actually going to put in summer cruises from Miami, right? But Google already beat me to that and said, hey, you might be looking for this. And it's based on a bunch of different algorithms. If I scroll this down, you can see some of the additional options that people are also looking for cruises. Now, it's saying summer cruises to Alaska. Okay, I'm not looking for that, but Google's saying maybe you're looking for that because other people are. Summer cruises from Florida, summer cruises from New York. So you see that if we're trying to create a keyword document, let's say, this will be a good way to start. All right. So right now, I am the consumer. I am the consumer looking for a summer cruise from Miami. So I'm just in the search engine looking for things, and Google's saying, would you like this? And I will say, yes. I'll click on that. And now what comes up? Okay. So what comes up are all the content that we see from summer cruises from Miami that Google is bringing up. I want to stop there. I want to make sure. Can everyone see my screen? Just put a yes in the chat or tell me they can. I want to make sure you're seeing this.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you. I wasn't sure if I had you on the screen or not. Okay, perfect. Now, I want to share with you a couple of things here. Google has laid out, Google's there to make money, right? They're not one of the largest companies on planet Earth because they don't make money. They're there to make money, and they're there to make money off of advertising. That's what they do. So the very top of any Google search is going to be sponsored ads. And you can see it says sponsored ads right here because it says the word sponsored. Now, my browser, I'm using Chrome browser. My browser looks a little different probably than yours. I'm going to tell you why here in a second. I have extensions built into my browser, free extensions built into my browser that will be helping me with my digital marketing. And I'll share them with you so you have an idea of what they are right now. So as an example, if you look at the search bar, my search bar probably looks different than yours because I have this extension in it right now. It tells me what I looked at, what I searched for rather, summer cruises from Miami. Then it tells me 20, and then it gives me a dollar sign and 251. So what this is telling me is that right now there are 20 searches a month for summer cruises from Miami. And if I was to take out an ad, it'll cost me $2.51 cost per click. That's CPC, cost per click, right here. Now, that's an extension I have in the browser, and I'm going to share that with you here in just a moment. I want you to focus on the right-hand side. You notice I have a few extensions here. So on the right-hand side, these are the extensions that I have tied into my browser, and I'll share with you how to get these here. One is what's my SERP, and if you remember, SERP is SERP, which stands for Search Engine Results Page. And this is telling me, based on what I put into the search bar, what other related keywords are coming up. 3-day cruises from Miami, Royal Caribbean cruises from Miami, 7-day cruise from Miami. It's also, if you notice, giving me volume per month and CPC, cost per click. That's telling me that there's 1,900 searches on Google per month for 3-day cruises from Miami, and it costs $4.08. If I was to take out an ad on Google, every time someone clicks on that ad, the cost per click, it'll cost me as a marketer $4.08 just on Google search. So the search bar here, right in that search bar. Great question, because as you know, Google has different partners when you think of Google Display Partners and things like that. So it's not capturing all that additional views. It's just catching what people are typing in. In this case, they're typing in the keyword, which is a keyword phrase, right? It's not keywords, remember, are what someone is trying to search for. So it could be 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. It could be a keyword phrase, and we'll cover this in a little more detail in another session. But Google is telling us that there are 1,900 searches, or not Google, but What's My SERP, the tool I have here, is telling us there are 1,900 searches for the keyword phrase 3-day cruise from Miami, and it's $4.08 cost per click, CPC. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. I just want to take you through the page here and then show you some other things here. So keep focused here on the right-hand side. Notice that I am also going to see a section people also search for. So that's additional keyword phrases, and this is all tied to this extension I added to my Chrome browser. And this is now telling me the additional phrases people also search for, the volume and the cost per click. And as I scroll down here, you can see it's tied to that people also search for are tied to people also ask, right? So there's a sort of a connection there. In the middle, going back to the left-hand side, after the sponsored content, you see this is an ad, that's an ad, that's an ad, that's an ad. Now we get to organic content, and the first organic content is the Royal Caribbean cruises, and it says cruises from Miami. Now, I want you to take a look at something that's really important to understand. I typed in, as a consumer, I typed in summer cruises from Miami. Remember, I wanted to take a summer cruise out of Miami. So I typed in summer cruises from Miami. That's sort of my intent of what I want to do. So Google's saying, well, let's look at this phrase, summer cruises from Miami, and pull up all the relevant content that has those words in it. Now, if I look at just cruises from Miami, I can see that this page has find cruises from Miami. So it's tied directly to that search. It doesn't have summer cruises from Miami, but it has cruises from Miami. These sponsored keywords, if I go back up here, notice the bold words. The bold words are tied to this search. Cruises, cruises, cruise, cruise. Miami, Miami, Miami. See how it's tied together there? That is what we call broad. It's a broad search. It's not an exact match. It's a broad search. So basically they're paying for anyone that puts in Miami and tied to cruises, they're going to come up. And that's why you're seeing, even though it's not the exact search, you're still pulling in some words there. So that's a broad search, okay? Now, this is more tied to that search, cruises from Miami. I'll keep looking and going down to see, here's another cruises from Miami here. Let's see if there's any more down here in the organic content down here. Miami cruise, a little different. Cruises Miami, a little different. Cruises from Miami. You see how that's all tied together. Okay. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is if I decide to get an exact search and I only want to search for summer cruises from Miami, as a consumer, as a searcher, I can put this into quotation marks. Now, when I put that in quotation marks, the word I'm looking for, only the pages or the content that's tied exactly to that is going to come up. So watch when I enter this, how everything's going to change. Well, I don't know if everything's going to change, but some things will change, okay? So let's see how that looks like. Okay, so now immediately we see that the keywords now are different. Notice now this says summer cruises from Miami, summer cruises from Miami, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. And let's see here, if I scroll down, if I can see content that's tied to summer cruises in Miami. Here you go, summer cruises from Miami. See that? That's an ad, that's an article. Let's keep moving. Here's the word again, summer cruises from Miami. Let's keep moving down, summer cruises from Miami. And let's keep moving down, summer cruises from Miami. So you see the point. So now we're the marketer. We're a cruise line. We have summer cruises from Miami. So now if I'm the marketing manager here and I'm studying this and I'm understanding what's happening, I want to make sure that I'm doing two things with that particular phrase. I am capturing the broad search of summer cruises from Miami, but then I'm also capturing the exact search of summer cruises from Miami. Now, it doesn't say it here in this sponsored ad from Celebrity and Royal Caribbean and MSC, but if I had to guess, summer cruises from Miami, this is tied to that. So they did an exact ad match to this particular word, if I had to guess. That's why that's coming up. If I look down at the organic content, notice that the only thing I see here is industry news. If you remember when we had summer cruises from Miami on the broad search, there was, I believe, Carnival might have been the #1 organic content there. So if I see this now and I'm a cruise line and I say, well, no one's looking for summer cruises from Miami. We know that there were 20 people looking for it because we saw that in that last result. It's not a lot, okay? So it's not going to shake the world up. It's not going to set the world on fire. But maybe if I wanted to create organic content and I was a cruise line, I might create a page that talks about summer cruises from Miami, give it a title, or put that keyword in the page, summer cruises from Miami, and have that populate there so that the next time someone looks for it, it could pop up. And that's how you understand what someone's looking for and the availability there. So that's what the consumer's doing. So I'm putting in, I want to take a summer cruise from Miami. I put it into the search bar and out comes all this different thing. Now, I'm the marketer. Now I know that maybe I want to focus on summer cruises from Miami. That could be our top thing. So I'm going to, let me go ahead and open up a Word doc here. So what I like to do is when I start doing some research, now I want to create a little list of what I'm finding. So in this case, if I'm looking at keywords and I'm focusing on summer cruises, let me spell that right, summer cruises from Miami. Okay. That's going to be the target keyword that I'm trying to go after. So I'm just going to start a document like that, and I'll go ahead and I'll save that. What I like to do is create documents where I do some research and I collect all the research and I always come back to it. So I'm just titling this Summer Cruises from Miami Keywords. And now I have a document that I'm going to keep going back and forth to. That's the goal here. All right, so let's go back to my searches. Now, I am let's say I am competing against other cruise lines, and or I could be looking at be a marketer for a cruise line. So I pulled up this particular cruise line here, which is Virgin Cruises. I've done a couple of them already. It's a relatively new cruise line, adults only, no kids. Wonderful cruise. A little bit on the higher end, but it's worth every penny if you enjoy cruises. Okay. Now, this is their website. So the website's nicely done. You see all the different information they have here. So I want to use this in my Semrush analysis. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to, let's go just to the home page here. And I'm going to grab that. And now I'm going to go into my Semrush analysis. And remember, we looked at the competitor dashboard. I can go in here and punch that in and start looking at that information. Okay, so this is the information I'm getting from Virgin. Now, if I was Virgin, I can use that for me. So let's act like I am the marketer for Virgin Voyages. So I see my dashboard here: organic keywords, organic traffic, paid keywords, paid traffic, referring domains, and the authority score. So let's pick a competitor. Well, we know that a competitor is, let's go back to that summer cruise here, Celebrity, right? So let's go ahead and grab that link. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this so I can grab that link here. It's taking me, notice that it's taking me to the URL from that ad. That's a tag for that URL. Won't cover that just yet, but that's where that's taking me. So I just want to go to the home page. So let me just go here. Okay. So now I'm going to put in my competitor and put in Virgin. I don't know what happened there. Let me grab that one again. And put in Celebrity now. And now we add a competitor. Okay. So now we have me and we have our competitor. And we can see the comparison of traffic there. Celebrity has nearly 3 times as much organic keywords. Remember, organic keywords are those keywords that we have in our website to drive traffic. They have more paid keywords. They have more organic traffic, nearly 4 times as much, maybe 5 times as much there. And the paid traffic's about the same, right? Just about 100,000 a piece. Referring domains, you can see Celebrity has 5 times as many referring domains, and it even has a higher authority score, which means that that site is more trusted. Now, there's a couple of reasons why that could be. And one thing I know for sure is that Virgin is a younger cruise line, so their authority score is a younger score, so that could be another reason. And I think if you look at the balance of the organic keywords, that probably has something to do with it too, because there's probably less pages and less content. If it's a younger site, you probably have less content overall. So that's just a general view of what we're looking for. So now I have a sense of what the competition is doing. Okay. So that's one way to use Semrush. Give it a second. Now, Uber Suggest is a free tool, a Chrome extension that you can add. It does a lot of the things that Semrush does, and it's thinking right now, and it'll give you some scores. So, can everyone see that pop up on the right-hand side, Uber Suggest?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, what Uber Suggest is telling us, it's giving us basically the same information we just saw at SEMrush, right? It's giving us the organic keywords, it's giving us the organic traffic, and notice their domain authority is 58 here versus what we just saw on SEMrush, which is 61. Close, but not exact, right? So it's going to vary by the company that ranks them. Now, what's great about this tool also, what I like about this Uber Suggest tool is I can actually see the growth in traffic, organic monthly traffic here. So I can see that very clearly what their traffic looks like, and it's growing. There's no doubt about it. It's growing quite rapidly. And I can also come in here and see the keyword rankings in terms of the month. So I see that chart there. And I can see the top pages in the US. So now I have all the top pages and I can see the top keywords by country. And if I scroll down, well, this does not have all of the data because it's the free extension, but I can also see keywords by traffic by clicking on that. And now I can see what the traffic is per keyword. So Virgin Voyages gets 246,000 views. And I scroll down and I get all adults only cruise vacations, right? Notice that they're really focused on that. So I can see some of that as well. So this is a great tool to use also to help you get information on keywords and domains. So let me point out where to get these tools. If you go to Google and you just put in, I believe it's the Chrome Web Store, if I'm not mistaken, right? Go to Chrome Web Store, search extension and themes, and you could just put in here keywords, keyword, let's say keyword search. Let's use that search term. Punch that in, and you notice all these different tools come up. And all these tools are free for the most part. The basic tools are free. So I'll put in here Uber Suggest. And here's the Uber Suggest tool. You see mine's already installed here. So that's what you can do to get this exact tool that I'm using. Just go to Chrome Web, punch in Uber Suggest, click on that and install it. It's a free tool. Once you install it, it works on any website and it'll give you the domain authority. It'll give you keywords. It'll give you backlinks, and it'll even give you a site audit. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is going to give us the pluses and minuses of that particular website. So these are the types of tools that we need to use in order for us to really understand what our website is doing and how we can improve our positioning. What I want to do is take us through an exercise on how to use SEMrush a little more closely. So if you remember, we started this keyword tools, keywords worksheet page. So we're going to come back and use that here in just a few minutes. First, let's go through an exercise to understand how to use SEMrush some more. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at my traffic analytics. So let me go through the steps and then we'll go on to SEMrush to go through it. So you want to be able to get to trends and then traffic analysis. And then once you're in traffic analysis, in that search bar, you want to put the domain in, okay? So let's go back to that. Let's click on Trends, Traffic Analytics, and in that search bar, I am putting this domain, Virgin Voyages, and I'm analyzing it. Click Analyze. So we're going to give that a second to pop up. And now we have very similar statistics to what we just saw on Ubersuggest and also in the domain search. So what is this telling us? This is telling us that we have 2.4 million visitors on a monthly basis. It's down. We see the icons here for mobile and desktop. We see unique visitors versus total visits. So why is that number different? Well, a unique visit is someone who goes there for the first time, and visits are someone who goes there for the first time and then goes back. So if you do the math, you had 2.4 million total visits, 1.3 million unique visits. So 2.4 minus 1.3 gives us, that's easy, 1.1 million people went back to a page, right? We see that, which means they're visiting more than one page. Well, how do we know that? We know that because now we have the data right here that is telling us that. So the average visit is 2.95 pages per visit. And the average duration, the engagement on a page, is about 9 minutes. Then we have bounce rate. Now, bounce rate is that definition where people are leaving your website. So that term bounce means let's bounce from this place, let's leave this place. So you're going to have bounce rates in two locations in digital marketing. The first location is going to be when you talk about websites. And the second place you'll have bounce rates is when we talk about emails. They both basically mean the same thing. With an email, it bounces, it comes back, or it doesn't deliver. With a website, a bounce rate means someone goes there and leaves very quickly. So a bounce rate above 70% is not good. 70, 80% is well, I shouldn't say that. A bounce rate at 70 to 80 is okay. Anytime you get higher than 80 and definitely into the 90s, it's not good. If you're in e-commerce and you're in 70 and 80% bounce rate, that means your website really needs some work because people are not finding what they need and they're getting out of there really fast. You're not converting. This case, the bounce rate is 38%. That is a great bounce rate. That means only 4 out of 10 people are not finding what they need on this website and they're sticking around. So that's pretty good. So that's how you would read that top level metric. Visits, unique visits, pages per visit, average visit duration, and bounce rates. All right, so now, as we scroll down, we see we have the graph that's going to give us the breakdown from August all the way through January 24 of the flow of the website. So in this case, we have all devices, which is blue, desktop, which is green, and mobile, which is orange. So you also have, this is total visits. Notice it says visits here, total visits. Unique visits, that'll change. Purchase conversion, because we're on the free software, it's not going to give us that, but it's part of a subscription, we can see that. Pages per visit, we can see what that average looks like. Pretty steady, right? Nothing changes there. Average visit duration, we can see some changes there. And when I say changes, we're looking for these big ups and downs. So what's the other great piece of this software? It's giving us traffic by channel. So remember, a channel is how traffic comes into the website. the more channels you have coming in, the more successful your website will be. Now, generally speaking, there are 5 or 6 main channels that come in. We'll call these roads to your website. Direct is when someone punches in the domain name. Referral is that coming from a referred web page, could come from an influencer or a blog or something like that. Organic search is it coming up because of our content, right? Like we were looking for summer cruises from Miami. Virgin didn't have any content there, but if they did, it would have come up in that organic section. Then you have paid search. Then you have organic social, which is social post that they just put out there on their network. Then they have paid social. Then they have email. And then they also have display ads. Okay. So this is all the traffic, how all the traffic is coming into the website. Now, by looking at this, you can see that they get a lot of direct traffic, but email represents almost 2% of all that traffic coming into the website. Paid social represents 1.5% of traffic coming into their website. So you can see this, and if you are a marketer now, you know where you want to spend money, because if your paid search is only giving you 4% of your results, how much money do you want to spend on that in terms of budgeting? You have to think of it in those terms. And if you reduce your spend, does that result go down? So you can measure that based on the budgets that you have and all the ins and outs. And this is only for the month of January 2024. Okay. So the other thing that this shows us is what we call the traffic journey. So the traffic journey is how people come into your website and flow through your website, and where do they go from that point? So that's the journey. It's the journey that they take. So in this case, you can see 56% of their traffic is direct. It goes into Virgin Voyages, and then from there, it goes back into Google. Maybe they're searching for something they didn't find. It goes back into Facebook, goes back into YouTube, which is interesting because that's telling me what? That's telling me there that someone is going to Virgin Voyages, they're checking things out, and then they're searching out what's happening on YouTube with Virgin Voyages. That's my guess. I don't have the exact data to show me that, but if I had to guess, that's what's happening. And I know that could be true because I do that, right? We all do that. Once we see something and we want to learn more about it, maybe we jump onto YouTube to see what other people are saying about it, which there's dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds of videos on Virgin Voyages already on YouTube. So that's it. And by the way, YouTube is the second largest search engine, so that makes sense. They're also checking out Facebook. Maybe they're checking out Facebook groups or something like that. Quantum metric, I'm not quite sure what that is, but they're also checking out Pinterest in terms of images and events. But then they're going back to Google to search some more, it looks like, okay? So that's what this traffic journey is telling us. Now, remember, everybody takes a journey to get to our website. When we understand what that journey is, we could market along that journey. So if we look at direct, we look at Google Organic and Google.com, only 25% of their traffic's coming in from there. That's 1/4. Google Paid and Google.com is only 3%, but it's up, which is good. Then you have Bing and you have Facebook driving some traffic too. So what does that tell me as a marketer? Well, that tells me as a marketer that my Facebook game should be good because I'm driving 2% of my traffic into Virgin Voyages through social media. And then am I properly positioned on Bing? Bing, of course, is another search engine. It's not, it only represents 2%, 5% of the traffic overall. Google represents 90% of all the traffic out there. So that's where you want to be. But Bing, you can't forget. In this case, you can't forget it definitely because 2% of your traffic is coming from Bing. So you might want to make sure that you're doing SEO on Bing as well as Google. Same rules apply. They have some different standards, different algorithms, but the same rules apply with content. You may want to also do advertising on Bing because you see this, right? So that might be something you want to do because I don't see any advertising here. So maybe it's just organic. So that's how you would work out on your traffic journey. You understand what it looks like. Any
Maybe
questions?
cheaper.
Go ahead.
Bing may be cheaper than Google.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. Sometimes it
Because
is.
in
Uh,
my case, we in the time of the checkouts, we are always comparing with the other ones. With the transportation here on the beach, we have to pay more than them to be on top.
See, that's very true. So I wouldn't ignore Bing. I wouldn't ignore it. Now remember, if they're getting 2.4 million traffic a month, and 2% of their traffic's coming from Bing, that adds up to several 100,000 people going to the website from Bing. So I would definitely pay some attention to it. So that's the inbound stuff. And then the outbound stuff, if I was managing the social media team at Version, I would say, hey, let's make sure our Pinterest is looking pretty good because 10% of our traffic coming out of our website is going there. Let me find out. I'm not quite sure what quantum metric is. What did I just do? That might be some type of industry thing. Okay, so that's what that is. That's actually a platform. You see that? It's a platform that the traffic, so they're sending traffic to this platform here. So they're using that for social media. So that's what that is. Okay. Well, that's good. Then whatever they're spending on it is working because it looks like that 7% of their traffic is going there and it's up, which tells me they just started that. If you look at the metrics. So now I can see this clearly here. I can make some assumptions. In December, their traffic was 1.4. Now in January, it's 13.3, and it's a marketing company, a digital analytics platform. So that tells me, if I had to guess, that they didn't have that in December, or they just started in December, and now in January they're having that some more. So that's my guess there. So I want to make sure that we're looking at that as well. Okay, let's keep moving here. So we have the breakdown of countries, devices, desktop. We can see where the countries are. And then we have additional information here on company info. Okay. So that is the breakdown of some of the trends and how we would use that. Now, let's go back to our exercise. Now that we did that, what I want to do is I want to punch in the data. I want to punch in your visits. Let's write in how many visits we had. Is that up or down by what percentage? How many unique visits did we have? Is it up or down by what percentage? How many pages per visit? How much is the average duration? Is that up or down? And that bounce rate. So remember, that's all coming from that top line data right over here. So we can pull in all that information into our statistics and start grabbing some of that data. We also want to take a look at your desktop versus mobile views. Now, why do we want to do that? Because if our desktop views are good, strong, then we know that our desktop version website version has to be as good as our mobile version. So we have to tie those two together. So if we go back to that and we see, look at this split. It's nearly 50-50, right? So that tells me that my website has to be optimized, meaning responsive on a mobile device, and it has to be optimized on a desktop. because we have almost an equal split there of desktop traffic versus mobile traffic. So we have to look at that as well. Then if I go back into here and I look at the channels, I enter the channels, the channel name, percent of traffic, and the total number of users. So this is part of the exercise that you can use to get used to using Semrush. Okay, let's do the next step. Let's look at keywords and look at keywords overviews as well. So here we want to go to the keywords research section, click on keywords overview, and in the search bar, we want to enter in some keywords. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go back to the keyword section. So we're in SEO, keyword overview. And remember, we were searching for summer cruises from Miami. So let's grab that and let's come back in here. Let's put that in here. I'm only going to do one. You can put up to 100 here. I'm only going to do one right now. I'm also going to put my location. I'm going to make it Florida. You can pick anywhere in the world, but let's just make it Florida. And now hit search. Let's give it a few seconds to come up. And now once we get this data, we're going to use the same data and fill in the metrics here. We're going to look at the volume, the keyword difficulty, the cost per click, and we're going to look at the next top keywords and then also the top alternative keywords that help us fill in the blanks here. So we'll give this a minute to come on. Okay, perfect. Now notice it's giving me the metrics for Florida. It's giving me the keyword difficulty. That means how that word ranks against other words. It's giving me the intent, meaning how someone's going to use it. It's giving me the cost per click and the competitive density, meaning how competitive is this particular keyword, and the volume. So if you remember, when we started this, we had a tool that, what's my SERP tool? If you remember, if I go back to that, it had the volume at 20 searches per month. It's the same here. So it's coming up exactly the same. So that data ties into it. I try to look at multiple views of data in order for us to understand what this is all about. So that's good. So that's telling us there. So now what I want to do is come in here, write some of that. Maybe I want to do Florida and then also do a search for the US. Put that information here. And the next thing I want to do is scroll down and go to some keyword ideas. So here's some keyword ideas that we can put in here. And I scroll down a little further and I have the SERP analysis. These are where those keywords are coming from. Notice that they're giving us those specific pages. So all that information is tied into this. Now, in this particular case, there are no questions and no related words. So if you remember, I went back, there were related words back into that original search because it's, let's go ahead and undo that quotation and we'll go back to that original search. And there was that 20 that we saw, and it came up at 251 here, but over here, it came up at 127. It's an average, it's not going to be exact. So if I go back here now and I look at those additional keywords, I have some over here that I can use in my search bar. So when I'm filling out this data, now I have alternative keywords, alternative volume, and if it's not the KD score, which is the density, competitive density score, I can put maybe the cost per click here, and that'll give me a metric that I can use as well. So it's all going to vary based on what we're looking for. And then are there any top question or top alternative keywords that I can use. If it's not in the Semrush tool, in this case it's not, I can go back to my Google tool and I can look at what's here. Okay. And remember, if you want to add what's my SERP extension in your Chrome browser, you do the same thing as we did over here. You just punch in the search tool, what's my SERP? And there it is. And you can go ahead and just add that to your Chrome bar and you'll get the same results as I have here in my search bar. Okay. So that's sort of how you would use Semrush and walk through the exercise. Now, that's keywords and that's also understanding the domain. The next part of that is to take a look at the content, because if we're creating these keywords, we want to create content to help us get in front of those keywords. So Semrush has a tool to do that as well. So to get to that tool, we need to go to the content marketing section, click on topics research, and then enter my keyword phrase into that to get topics. So let's go back to Semrush. Let's scroll down to content marketing. Let's do topic research. We're going to grab that keyword again, the same keyword that we want to use, summer cruises from Miami. Come back in here, enter that topic. I want to look at the whole US, and I'm going to just click on content ideas. Give that a minute or two. And what's going to populate are ideas for me to create content based on what's out there in the industry right now. So we want to do this because it's important for us to understand what the pluses and minuses are in terms of the content. So that now it's coming up and you can see more or less, let's see, it's thinking, it has 18 ideas right now. But you can see some of the, okay. So let's take a look at some of these ideas that are populating here. Cruises from Miami, cheap cruises from Miami, top Bahama cruises from Miami. You can see, so these are all the titles of all these keyword intent. So if I wanted to click on stuff, I can just go in here and see exactly what this article is. So if I wanted to see cheap cruises from Miami or get the best cruises from Miami or best last minute cruises, if I click on that, it'll take me right to the page that's coming from. See that page? That's like a blog page. That's what that's coming from. So now I have this content and I can say, okay, what type of content can I use to help me drive that keyword I'm researching? So this is giving me some ideas, and to the right of this, it has a bunch of different questions that I can use to decide what type of content I can make. So let's say I want to focus on building a blog that talks about summer cruises from Miami. So maybe I could do a blog that's titled, "What is the best time to take a cruise?" And I could start, I'm going to grab that content here and I'll put that into my little search doc. And now I have, oops, it didn't copy, I noticed. So let's go back and grab that one more time. And put that on my search doc. So now I can start writing a blog that talks about what is the best time of year to take a cruise. But now I am going to take this keyword and make sure that that keyword now is in this blog. And that's going to help me rank for that keyword. I'm going to work out a blog based on what's the best time to take a cruise. And I would start writing, or I can use, in this case, ChatGPT, whatever it is. And I can start just writing, I love taking cruises, but the best time, and I'm going to write quickly, the best time to take a cruise is in the summer. Here is the best summer cruises, or here are the best summer cruises from Miami under $1,000. And then I can go on and say, because I'm with Virgin, remember, start with the Virgin Voyages cruise from Miami that departs every summer, right? Obviously, I'm just writing quickly, but notice now I'm using Miami, I'm using summer. So I'm trying to incorporate this particular keyword. If you remember, the original keyword was just this here, right? Whoops, that's a bad color, isn't it? Oh, I don't know why that's not working. Okay, here you go. That was the original keyword, summer cruises from Miami. So now I have that and I can start building the content because I researched some of this and I can continue going down and deciding what to use. I may even want to grab a blog. So let's say, one thing that you could do is just grab any blog and you could go into ChatGPT now and update it and use tools like Quillbot to change it. You can't steal someone's blog, but you can paraphrase it and you could rewrite it. So that's how you would build some content. Any questions for me on that?
Yeah. And where should these article or blogs be posted? Is it kind of to be like in your own website, or it can be in Google, and then it can be also,
Yeah.
maybe advertise it?
Yeah, all the above, that's the answer there. So I would say all the above. I would have, if they have a blog on the website, I would put it on the website. I would also send it out for other people to use so that you can backlink into it. And remember, you're tying in your keywords, so that'll be helpful to have, right? So let's see, I don't think they have a blog here on their website. Yep, here it is. Oops, hold on one second. Oh, I don't know why. There's the blog here. Right? So I would put it right in here. That's where I would put that. And that'll be tied to keywords and that'll help with that traffic.